Report. This is Leon Threet. I'm here at the nation's capital sharing on the things I promised from last week's report. The Threet Report, I mentioned 10 things I believe that President Donald Trump was doing well, and I wanted to mention those things from my observation, from my research. I believe that the president has done a remarkable job and moving things forward. And so here in the nation's capital, the first thing I want to mention that I believe the president has done well and are making tremendous progress on, and that is the repealing of Obamacare. He promised during his election that he would do just that. And up to this point, the administration, as well as the House majority, the House of Representatives did in fact pass a health care plan, which we are quite encouraged with. Now that plan is going to the Senate for review, and I believe that it will in fact pass the Senate. We're quite encouraged about that. Secondly, the second thing that I believe President Donald Trump has done, promised, and have in fact implemented and are doing well, and that is cutting and slashing regulations. I believe regulations are one of the things that have held back our economy, and I believe that him implementing some things, in particular, he has implemented and activated the Congressional Review Act, which reviews all regulations and their impact on our economy. I believe he promised, and I believe he's delivered on that. The third thing that I believe that President Donald Trump promised and are in fact making a difference in, and that is the crackdown on immigration. Just last week we saw that the Supreme Court did acknowledge that they would hear his case on vetting those 7 nations that have been active in terrorism, meaning that our terrorist attacks or terrorist organizations have worked from, and that from those nations there will be a vetting process that's a little bit stronger than the others. And so he promised that he would do that, and he has in fact implemented things that I believe that will make a difference in making America safe and addressing the immigration challenge. Also, trade reform. President Donald Trump, during his election, I remember hearing him say this specifically, that he would pull out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He has done just that. That partnership was giving other nations from the Pacific a great advantage over our economy, very little benefit to the American economy. He pulled us out of it. I believe that was a smart move. He promised that he would, and he has done just that, reforming trade. Number 5, travel ban. That when he talks about a travel ban, he specifically addresses the issue where the problem is coming from, which is confronting radical Islamic terrorism. He has stated those words, and I believe it speaks to his ability to identify the problem, where the enemy is coming from, and addressing that from the very far front and straightforward with it. Number 6, what do I believe President Donald Trump has done well, promised, and are in fact making a difference in, and that is he nominated a conservative Supreme Court justice, which he promised he would. I remember on more than one occasion being in his midst, being in the gathering of different campaign settings where he promised that he would find a conservative judge. He identified and nominated Judge Gorsuch, which is a true conservative. He was nominated and approved and affirmed by the Senate. I'm encouraged by that. What Mr. Trump promised, he has in fact delivered. Number 7, Mr. Trump has promised that he would boost military spending and advance and rebuild our military. He has implemented and put into place things that I believe without question that will strengthen our military. Without question, we need a military that is robust enough to address the crisis that we see throughout the nations and throughout the world. He promised that he would do that. Positive change is on the way, and I'm encouraged by that. Number 8, what do I believe that President Trump has implemented? Number 8, he repealed the Johnson Amendment. The Johnson Amendment was a gag order implemented by Lyndon Baines Johnson that prevented clergy, pastors, and leaders from speaking openly for or against a particular political candidate. President Trump promised that he would address and, yes, repeal it. He has done just that. I'm encouraged for having such a president that will do what he promised he'll do. He repealed the Johnson Amendment. It was number 8. Number 9, the Veterans Affairs Accountability Act was signed by the president just days ago, which holds employees in a part of the Veterans Administration accountable for their work performance, and when they fail to do their job, they can be disciplined or dismissed. That was excellent. That was number 9. Number 10, He pulled America out of the Paris Agreement, which was a climate agreement that the previous administration got us involved in, which would limit America's sovereignty across the nations. It would put limitations on our industries and on our businesses, and he pulled America out of the Paris Agreement is what it's called. It's called a Paris Climate Agreement. He pulled us out, smart move. He promised he would deal with these issues, and he has. I'm encouraged that we have a president that makes a promise during the campaign season and has kept those promises for the first 150 days. He's done what he promised. I'm encouraged. I believe we can support this president, not only now, but in the days to come. You've been watching the Threet Report. Thank you. I'm here in the nation's capital. Be blessed and have a great morning.